this Peacock thing for the love. Shout out to Mama Shorts. Bird. Shout out to Miss Peacock. Yeah.
All right, family. We got an important show tonight. Our people know a lot about the Bible. The Bible is a book that any hotel you go to see a Bible. You go to anywhere you go, pretty much the Bible's everywhere. Wherever you go, there's a Bible somewhere. So everybody's familiar with the spiritual text that we know of as the Bible. People are familiar with the Quran. People are familiar with, some other books, like the Book of Enoch, things like that. One spiritual text that
all new drinks are here, from crafted sodas to refreshers.
Egyptian god.
The concept, S-O-N and S-U-N, is the same concept. One represents the soul's unfoldment. The S-O-N represents the personalities involved in the Son's unfoldment. The only begotten of the Father, as the Son of God, is the sun up in the sky. Okay? But what we've not seen in this
Ancient Egypt.
that is a representation of a spiritual sun. The very sun that we see
The picture come from ancient Egypt.
is a sun.
Yeah, that's where that come from.
The whole idea of sonship is coming from this other concept. And the other level of language begins to be wrong.
Like that.
Represents the Father. Okay. One is the projection of that acts as the cause of growth, development, growing and nurturing. While the other
listen to this knowledge, Alex.
The birth of, which is all kind of right there. Okay, what I want to do for the three of you new folks, relatively new, is deal with the insignia of this concept of the science of self, best referred to in its antiquity as Moorish science. We start with our view of things from the problem to the answer simultaneously. The answer
Shout out to you, Miss P.
solves the problem of who am I? And we are in search of, we are missing three major keys. The reason I classify them as major because they're not the only keys missing, but three major keys that allow one to find the rest of the knowledge of self. Identity, self-knowledge, and self-revelation. Write those down. You're not going to read those anywhere. I haven't written them yet. And identity encompasses first and most importantly, because we work, start, look, announce ourselves from outside in our consciousness. Identity begins with name. Everything has a name. The whole peculiar idea of Adam going around naming everything is quite a bit of work. So we know we're not talking about some guy running around planet Earth and everything he says, that's a roach, that's a butterfly, that's a bee, that kind of naming. But we're talking about an intelligence that operates in and as a thing that causes it to function, to behave, to perform certain abilities and powers. That is name. Name and nature are synonyms. The reason you have a name is because you have a specific nature. Your name correlates and corresponds with your specific nature. Even your American Negro colored name is reflective of your consciousness, your mental abilities, and your spiritual and academic or mundane talents. Understand, the universe is not partial to someone's language. It owns all of it. It promotes communication, intelligence, comprehension. And it is not Islamic, it is not Arabic, it is not Sanskrit or Japanese. In the universe's path of identification and clarification, it is language. The highest language that makes reference to my thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways a Hebrew system. It is an ancient, quote, Egyptian, unquote, a term that does not refer to an ethnic definition, but Moorish, in terms of system, in terms of keys, in terms of how to A, write a truth and hide it, how to unlock that truth and know it. That is what Moorish science is. It is not the Bible. It is not the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, or any other scriptural book. But the means, the method of structuring hidden knowledge. Okay. To further emphasize, the Book of the Dead is not the Book of the Dead. It is the book of the mistress of the secret house. Mistress being the feminine for master. Yes, this is the book of the master of the secret house. Which means our ancestors are the keepers of the secrets. If you wonder why the Masonic, like one sister asked me, she's not here today, supposed to come, and needs to be here. Why do they hide this stuff? And the truth of the matter, it is not man that is the author of secret knowledge. It is the universe that is the author of secret knowledge. The concept mystery in its clarity means private, keep out. It is a privilege to gain truth. A privilege. Not a nonchalant, casual affair. And the knowledge protects itself, so there's no fear of what the evil will do with it. They will undo their own causes if they misuse that knowledge. I wanted to start with defining these terms,
But I think what I'll do is reach first into the book of Ruth. And the reason for that is this is the book in the Bible that the Negro Christian Eastern Star is directed to. Okay? Does anybody know what the ethnic definition of ethnic group that Ruth came out of? A Moabite is right. Now, here is where Noble Drew Ali made a peculiar curve, or threw us a curve in terms of ethnicity. In keeping with the theologics of genealogy, the Moabite tribe comes out of the house of Lut, who is called Lot in the Bible. Remember, Abraham and Lot went into Egypt. If we are of the house of Lot, who are those in Egypt? The question I raise. So, the term is misdirective concerning tracing back our footsteps to the past. It does not take us directly into the land referred to again as Egypt. But the history tells us those are our ancestors. According to history, we are of that particular house, the house of Ra, the ancient mystery school, those that occupy the territories now called Africa.
If Abraham was already there, and Lot was his nephew, so if the Moabite had descended from the house of Lot, was it before they went to West Africa? Egypt, or how does that connect with Egypt?
Lot and Abraham comes out historically. The Chaldean.
Not lived in a cave with his daughters or something. But anyway, what I'm trying to ask is, how, if we come from Moabite, which group is descended from the house of Lot,
Right.
and how we connected with Egypt?
That's what I'm explaining. We don't come from the house of Lot. That's exactly what I'm pointing out. Okay. The term Moabitus had more appreciable honor at the point where Drew Ali enters the picture, and Africa was Booga Booga land, with no prestige, no glory, no civilization, but a tribe of savages. That was the mental image of the African at the time that Drew Ali was on the scene. And he could not change that in the minds of millions of Negroes who suffered from a gross inferiority complex. See? And perhaps the same reason why Elijah Muhammad did not point in that direction. He stated we were Asiatics, but that is also what Drew Ali had said. And then put up a Japanese symbol as a symbol of the black man as Asiatic. The sun with the red rays coming from it is the flag of Japan. So that particular dismembering of the African in America from the African of Africa, using political terms, has been part of the problem of regrouping, and why both Elijah as well as Farrakhan have been late, not only getting into Africa, but identifying with the black man of Africa on a prestigious level. Again, in the 60s, when you see black men walking around in dashikis and African garments, the kids on the bus would go, booga booga. These are black kids. 1965, 66, 67. It was still a point of ridicule. So we're looking at the psychological scar of a people about a place that was ruled by one white man and a monkey. See? A white man who had never been in Africa wrote the story of Tarzan. See, okay, so we're looking at the distortion and how to correct it. And most importantly, the black woman has no prestige as an intellectual being, and secondly, no prestige as a spiritual initiate. And certainly she has no prestige as a god or goddess. So we need to correct that. Okay, all right. That's what we're doing with this level of information. Let me get to the book of Ruth. Some of you Moors should have a Bible by now after 3 months, should you not? And just didn't bring it. I see. Yes, we know you were not here, dear. I was here. I know you were here. The reason I keep using scriptures is not to convert you to Christianity or reconvert you, but this is the place where the confusion rests most predominant in terms of things spiritual for the masses of black folks. This is the only book the majority of black folks trust.
Let's see if people
There's
there
a
teach
small
me.
group that are into Quran, and a teensy bit are into the Bhagavad Gita. All other
Teaching y'all motherfuckers.
Secondly, this is the book that was designed to explain and hold the knowledge of self. It is emblematic of woman and man. I cannot say that about the Quran. I can almost say it about the Bhagavad Gita. But there's a line of definitive that runs through all of them concerning universal principles. That I can most assuredly say, and a reference of the fact that those scriptures of other religions deal with man as God, including the Quran. To offer an explanation of why I keep making reference to the Bible. Okay. And the fact that other Moors don't do that. In fact, some Moors are so mad at this book, they want to take it and throw it away forever. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to read some of it as I explain the symbolic significance of the spiritual ideal. The Eastern Star is in reference to the idea of the Christ that is stated in Matthew, that the wise, who are the Magi, who were Sufi, who were Persians, which means they were Ethiopians, are the ones who saw his star in the east. The Eastern Star is the star between the eyebrows that you see in deeper meditation. There's a perfect 5-pointed star that will appear. It will be either silver, gold, or bright white light, depending on where you are in your own spiritual development. That is the Eastern Star. That is the goal of the Eastern Star initiate. Ruth represents the highest spiritual personality of Old Testament because she is the propagator of, in that genealogy, the son of David, who is a part of the genealogy of Jesus. That's theology. Okay. Why Ruth is used in both the book and in the order is because Ruth
Wow. Oh man.
is truth. Okay, let me get to this explanation here. Now, here's the interesting part about this breakdown of names as knowledge and meaning of things. Let me turn to it before I start, so I won't have to do that when I start talking. If you have the metaphysical dictionary, which you should bring to class. We're going to use these books. We are just buying them. Yeah. I can't let you all use all of their books and not buy them. Okay, if you get them smutty. I know he does. That's the reason I mentioned it. Okay. Now it came about in the days when the judges governed that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem in Judea went to sojourn in the land of Moab with his wife and 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech. And Elimelech means God is king. And the name of his wife is Naomi. Naomi means beautiful one. Excuse me, Naomi means beauty. Ruth means beautiful one. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahalan and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem. Bethlehem means the house of life, or the house of bread. Bethlehem in that Yiddish articulation. The house of life, the house of bread. Bethlehem, or Bethlehem. And they took for themselves Moabite women, Naomi's 2 sons. The name of the one was Orpha, and the name of the other was Ruth. So we have this brief genealogy. Now, here's what happens. Then both Mahalan and Chilion also died, and the woman was bereft of her children and her husband. So she became what? All right, she becomes the widow. Now we know that in the Masonic order, by looking at 1 Kings chapter 7, verse 13, write that down. You already got them notes, brother. 1 Kings 7:13. Who is the theme of that particular chapter? I'm asking him. All right.
You put it in. I'm like,
I am a Beth who is what? The widow's. Okay. What has not been explained, and it usually is not, who is the widow, and what does the widow mean? Okay. That's the emphasis of this particular lecture, to unveil Isis. Now what I was supposed to do was to quote this quote of Isis. I am she who was and is to come, and no man has ever lifted my veil. Okay, that's the quote of Isis. Osset. Okay, now, what I'm supposed to do now is hand you all a picture that I'm supposed to have Xeroxed from this book. So I'll just let you see it, and maybe later we'll get a picture of it. Okay. It's one of the few emblems in carving of the features of Isis as a broad-nosed, thick-lipped, furrowed-haired, dark-skinned Mooress instead of looking like some white girl, which is what the European artist did with that image in finding out her spiritual status in the Egyptological body of literatures. They whitened everybody that had any prestige that they could In fact, part of what Napoleon was doing was disconnecting the Moor, the African Moor, from the pyramid itself by disfiguring the Sphinx. He could have shot off the shoulder, the paw, the head, but instead he shot off the nose.
You shut their nose off.
Then after
Am I
this
seeing
enormous
that?
collection of artifacts stolen from the land and photographed, we see hundreds of thousands of statues of black men and women around the country here and around the country in Britain, of the noses knocked off. Of course, their reason is, oh, they fell. So we understand something. Two things we understand. The nose is knowing. The knowledge is broken.
Ooh.
The family is
Jealousy free.
And of course the
The
other
nose is knowing. The knowledge is broken.
identify
Ooh, they
essentially
broke that. Try to break that knowledge.
by nose, lips, and complexion. See? In terms of that group of people collectively in the continent of Africa, because there are black people, jet black with thin lips, alpine nose, and long wavy hair. The East Indian. Are you talking to me or are you talking to yourself? And not only they did that, Blavatsky did that. She called the Egyptians black Caucasians, even though she knows the term Caucasian comes from Caucasus Mountains. See? But again, understand, we've had a cultural conspiracy, and it was and still is very real. And why the scrambling to correct this knowledge in terms of bringing about the process of healing the psyche of all of us, but essentially at this point, urgently, it is to heal the psyche of our children who still carry a distorted image of themselves.
Huh?
And Dennis Rodman is not helping with his multicolored hair and his crazy
I think what he said.
psyche, who has a terrible inferiority complex.
That's,
Okay, let me get on it before I get off on something else here. Okay, so Ruth becomes the stepdaughter of who? No. Of who, particularly? You just said it. Of a widow.
Hey, Poospa.
Okay.
How you doing,
the
Poospa?
key. Now, here's the other key.
How you doing?
Naomi is what to her? Very good. Another key, Masonic. What does mother-in-law mean? Now, look at the words first before you start answering. What does mother-in-law mean? And well, that's what it says. What does it mean? I'm gonna make you strain a little bit because I want you to think. Yeah, it's because it's so obvious. It appears to be deep, and it's not. It's right there. This is who? The bringer and the giver of all life, human life. This is the law, universal law. So what law does woman represent? Of what? No. The universal law of attraction, which is what? What virtue is synonymic with the law of attraction? Love. Okay. And what we're trying to do is reconnect these concepts in our psyche, because the West has forgotten the significance of love, not just black folks. But my work is to remind us of what it means and who that woman is who gives us birth in 9 months. She is the representation of divine law in manifestation.
Hello,
She is
Postman.
walking, talking, living God who does what God does, creates in 9 months
C6, what's up?
her son, and creates in 9 months, not her daughter, mother, because a daughter can become mother, but a son cannot. Okay. Universal law of love. How do we know that? By the story told in this particular book. Listen to this. Then she arose with her daughter-in-law that she might return from the land of Moab, for she had heard in the land of Moab that the Lord had visited his people in giving them food. So she departed from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they were on their way to return to the land of Judea. And Naomi said to her 2 daughters, Go, return each of you to your mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. May the Lord grant you that you may find rest, and so forth. And they said to her, No, but we will surely return with you to your people. But Naomi said, Return, my daughters, why should you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Return, my daughters, go. I am too old to have a husband. I said, I have hope if I should even have a husband tonight and also bear sons. Would you therefore wait until they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is harder for me than for you. For the hand of the Lord has gone forth against me. And they lifted up their voices and wept. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, Ruth, clinging to her, then said, Behold, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. But Ruth said, Do not urge me to leave you or turn back from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where said, Is this Naomi? Now listen to this. And she said to them, Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara. Okay. Write in the lodge. Write in the science. Write in the knowledge of and the identity of the Morris. Mara is more. Okay. Now we're dealing with the Codex Inscriptus, unclothing, unraveling this code of words, of rearranging letters. Okay. All right. The Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has witnessed against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me? So Naomi returned, and with her Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, who returned from...
This almost feels illegal to know if you're a side sleeper. What I've discovered is
starve so somebody else can eat. Okay, that we're not doing martyrdom. We're doing resurrection. All right.
It's about freeing yourself.
You can free up.
You can free others because they see you. And nothing that we do, does not have some type of effect on others, regardless of who they are.
Negative or positive.
Yeah, you can influence.
You can influence.
You can influence.
Set an example and
Sure.
freeing yourself. And the things that you do, the things start to work in your life because of following whatever. Then once you get to a particular point, people that see what's going on in your life, at some point they start to ask you, well, what did you do?
Right.
What is it that's working? It's
Right.
something that,
Right. Now we can spend a lot of the rest of this time speculating here. Let's try to get a little bit more information. I appreciate where you are in terms of your thinking, Charlie, and that's very Moorish. We are by nature universal beings. We're learning how to gain that perception. But I tend to think that many times we want to run across the street and save the stranger before we save those in our own house and upstairs. By save, I mean help, to enlighten, help to educate, help to correct one's thinking, to share. You can't help anyone that doesn't want your help. You can't give them your light and your power if they don't want it, okay? Each soul must have a certain level of desire in order to transform. Otherwise, you're virtually casting your pearls among swine thinking.
Let me remind you of something you said.
Go ahead.
You know, you all I've been thinking, and I really come to the conclusion that Oprah is the new sojourner.
I didn't say new.
Well, she's been coordination.
That's right.
Because she speaks to the white female in this country without a doubt.
And no doubt they listen.
They listen.
That's right.
And in that, you wonder now, all of this, then this black woman has all that influence.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she have so much influence if it wasn't in our nature to bring that level of thinking that they are on, the beast like thinking up to another level?
She's given an avenue that does two things. Allows her to express her humanity.
She got the floor.
And two, to gain her rewarding of what she has given in her previous life. She has been effective and influential in many black folks' lives. She is a pro-feminine. She's a feminist first, as a woman. She's not what you would call a spiritual teacher, so they want to put the laurel of guru around her neck. But she is an educator. She is a cultivator. From the peculiar viewpoint, that of entertainment, where it's acceptable. But she gets the respect and response of any master teacher in this country. She's over again. Got a vast audience out there. A lot of them do. In fact, I recall when she threw this scarf on her shoulder, went downtown, every other black woman downtown had a scarf on her shoulder. Oh, black women listen to her. But she doesn't deal with Afrocentricity. She doesn't deal with it.
Well, I'm saying that spirit is there.
Yeah, she talks of new thought. She talks being grateful, thinking positive, She even had something, and the rest of them have done. She had a woman on there having a whole audience not only pray, but meditate. And she's an entertainer. See? Of course, one would do damn near what you want to do, But, you can see these earmarks of this spiritual being in a peculiar situation trying to raise consciousness, We don't have a BET is doing boogaloo. They're not doing this. Now, they're supposed to be trying to get to some culture now, but we don't have a avenue of television connect where black teachers, educators, cultivators can get to a large percentage of life. We ain't got it, We ought to have it, but we ain't got it. So, because even though we don't have it, the most popular black woman in America and in the Western Hemisphere probably the most popular woman, is on television. And every now and then, Oprah does not let you forget that she's still black. She don't let you forget it, you know. She just doesn't do, just kill the white boy. You know, that used to represent being black. You ain't black as me. I want them all dead. Damn. That was the thinking of the 60s. Chilling thought. Chilling. Whew. Okay, what time is it? What time did we start? 2? You start about 2 o'clock? Okay. Okay, we're going to get a good meditation here, so we're going to hold there. My good advice is get a copy of this book first before you buy the ephemeris. They don't have any up there. They said it looks like one up there. Is that one up there? No. That's blue. This book is purple. The only astrology book you'll ever need. It's good. She explains things clearly. She makes sure you know what she's talking about. Nice big pages, big letters, so we can see what's going on. 35 minutes. Oh, okay. Well, that's right. You don't put your stuff up there. I have more than 35 minutes worth of talk up here. I don't need any books. This is my subject, my honey. The Mother Zudicaius, the Grand Circle, is the theme. Is how we become free man. Yeah, you also know that you don't hear folks saying freedom, free man, liberation. How many times you hear that today as opposed to 1965, 66? Time you turn around, brother. Bill, Bobo. Throw it up there for you. You know. Yeah, we have to do. Might even forget how to spell the word. But it's still about freedom. It has never been about anything else. Hell, I don't want a black Ku Klux Klan running the show. No more, I want a white Ku Klux Klan running the show. We don't want to trade oppressors. The problem of the collective psychology is that those who get in charge of a system that's designed to take advantage of will have to take advantage of. Whoever is sitting in the damn chair, he's sitting in a chair of disadvantage for the masses. That's just how it is. That's the system doing it. So it doesn't please me that Jesse Jackson would have gotten to the White House and been Bill Clinton or Bush or somebody else who have to make and take away laws that they made in order to figure out and finagle the income around. So we're looking for that which we can only find within ourselves. Nobody has it, nobody can take it from you, and nobody can give it to you. You got it. You have to draw it out. PEACOCK. To draw out that which is within. In the face of the zodiac, this language tells us about that inner self, the Mother Zudicaius, the concept that is left out of 99% of astrology. I'm looking for my chart now, because it is based on, this culture is based on the patriarchal view of things, the man view of things, instead of the womb man, the mother view of things, which is the beginning of human civilization, I might add. It begins with Mama. In the legendary, she didn't even need a man to start out with to make a baby. She could do it by herself. Oh, that's rather shocking. This is about as close as we have to a, you don't even have the stand out here, to a Moorish chart of the zodiac. And as I confess, this comes from the Rosicrucian literatures, the concept and this chart
the clock of destiny was borrowed by C.M. Bay to do his pamphlets, and a very appropriate one, because the Rosicrucians did not create the clock. They just coined the idea of clock of destiny. That is exactly what the charting of the universe does. We are destined to go somewhere. We are going somewhere. We are not standing still. We are in motion, moving at enormous rate of speed. If you think about this, flight, 24 hours. You're getting the sense that time is zooming? You getting that sense? This does not seem, well, that's because it's speeding up. Every year, the planet moves 1 degree faster than it did the last year. So we're definitely traveling. The big idea that Johnson Bay and C.M. Bay seem to push more in their teaching, of course they didn't even call themselves teachers, they wanted to be called instructors, which is all right, you know, because the reality of the thing is there's only one teacher, and that's your own higher consciousness. That's the real teaching. But someone has to stimulate. The concept teach means to touch. The only thing you can touch with teach is the mind. To stimulate, to inspire, to open. Just with a word. One brother mentioned something to me about those times when you were having or seeing something. I mean, Don Freeman. When he said that, my astrolight clicked on. I could see this little bulb in the back of my head, this brownish, bronzish, shining bulb. I remember the dream I had. And he didn't know that, but he stimulated my consciousness. That's what teaching does, particularly when it's about the soul of self. Because the soul is waiting to hear certain keys, certain ideas, certain truths. And then it responds. That's real educare. The rest of it is virtually instructions and skill getting. We already talked about the core rain. I love that little idea. It stimulates me. I was looking for a chart. The ones I would like to talk about right now in relationship to the zodiac are in my tube. Oh, okay. That's what I can do. One of the questions I wanted to raise, what
why then is it still, I mean, how widespread this new if everything is gonna be that much.
Everything is not. I'm being specific here. Okay? That doesn't mean it hasn't been tampered. We know it's been tampered with because we know this is not the original Christian theological Bible. The Protestants' book is the refutation to the Catholic Church, Catholic theology, and the Catholic Bible, and the Catholic Pope. That's the existence of the Protestant religion called Protestants. That's why they exist. They protested every damn thing about the Catholic Church, including their book, their robe, and their candles. Okay?
So I think the question I meant was going to
Yeah.
talk about more science.
Most Moors don't deal with this. You know, this book right here want to proclaim it as destroyed. They don't even fool with it, you know, because they're not dealing with symbolic language and codex inscriptus, the code and the secrets written in it. A Kabbalistic writer fixed this up. That makes him a Moor as to whether he wanted to be or not. He used Moorish science to compile it and structure it. If the whole group of them did the same, did the book, then they were Moors in their thinking and their knowledge and their approach. Why? This book is in the back of your head, and my head, and his. Just because you said it ain't no good, it ain't right, don't take it out of the back of your head. Hell, even right now, you say, close your eyes and think of Jesus. Most of you see a white man with brown hair. See? True knowledge, accurate knowledge, explains things so that you understand them. This alleviates the burden of belief. It alleviates knowledge. Understanding alleviates the burden of belief. The burden of belief is you are a sinner when you walk through his door. He don't know your damn name, but he knows you're a sinner. Okay? And you're supposed to believe that in order to get saved. It has nothing to do with your nature, physical, mental, or spiritual. It has everything to do with your psychology. Everything. The most guilt-ridden group of human beings down here are Catholic women, black or white. They got the worst complex about their sexuality, their femininity, and their womanhood. Even though they got a virgin woman as God, because she's a virgin, and they ain't. You're supposed to think your way out of these mazes somebody else set up. Okay, that's what a Moor does. He ain't buying. I believe. Is he looking there? I believe. Well, that ain't what he's doing. Moors don't do that. Okay, we're trying to know you the truth. And the truth will set you free. Know you the truth. That's what we are about. That's what you means in Codex Inscriptus. That's right. That's what you're supposed to know. That's what we're trying to do. The thematic of this book is not Jesus, it's not Jehovah, it's not angels, it's not the devil. It is G-O-D. John chapter 10, verses 31 to 36 is the theme of the Bible. Godhood is the theme. How you get to that theme is by knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Self-knowledge. That's what any and all study is supposed to be about. Even chemistry, herbs, vitamins, whiskey, wine, beer, and whatever. Will it help me? Will it hurt me? As you study from self out to the world, your environment, your greater environment. Study from yourself inward to the world, your inner greater environment. And that's putting on the crown of life 1 degree at a time. Okay? The backup is found in, as I mentioned, and I keep mentioning it, I'm always mentioning it, Psalm 82, verse 5 and 8. When you talk about what scripture is he talking about, it's right there in the same book that one came out of. Yes. And the whole of that, I usually never deal with the whole of that scripture. I leave it for you all to study. But nobody's ever brought back the rest of it to me and said, oh, and also, brother, I like to hear that. That lets me know the brother's been doing some busting some pages, as one brother said. I'm going home, brother, and bust some pages. 82 verse 5 to 8. There's another little glitch in there that they altered, of course. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Well, does that mean the planet? No, it does not. All the foundations of the earth, which is your body, are out of course. Not working, not functioning. How many foundations are there? 12. Are out of course. If you keep the Godhood theme as you read that, it explains that to you, that it's talking about you as God. The whole verse is talking about Godhood, even though it does not appear that way. I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Still talking to you. So it doesn't appear to. Because all they have to do is that's why they use this G and this G. There is no little God and a big God. There's only God. But in writing to clothe and cover, and all they got to do is do this one and this one. They can make this one evil and false with a little g. Oh, it's talking the false gods in the Bible. So learning how to discern is what having the keys of Moorish science is about. Of understanding, that you're reading a coded book, not a belief book. Reverend Biscuit tried to insist upon that in a college forum in Cleveland State. The Bible is a faith book. I'm going to leave that alone. I know that I jumped on it with all 4 feet. It made him so mad when I went down to shake his hand. He didn't want to shake my hand. With his good soul and good heart. Truth can embarrass a preacher. Oh, okay, yeah. He lost it. Yeah. When that point comes where you shatter their system, and by their, I mean any belief system, that's Islam, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter.
the believer becomes unnerved. Yeah, and you can make that believer not only fight for what he believes, you can make that believer kill for what he believes.
That's what they're blowing up these doctors because, I mean, you're just with abortion.
It's the same thing, same motivation. Yeah, same motivation. For in the sake of they're doing God's work by killing somebody who's killing babies. That's a justification for it. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
They just
I want to point out a very remarkable peculiarity, as best I can call it at this moment. Revelations chapter 7, verse 6. Of the tribe of Asher, of the tribe of Simon, wait a minute, of the tribe of Asher, of the tribe of Naphtali, of Naphthalim, of the tribe of Manasseh, of the tribe of Simon, of the tribe of Levi, of Issachar, of Zebulun, of Joseph, of Benjamin. What's wrong with that picture? But I read 12. What's wrong with that picture? Interesting, isn't it? That's the interesting point. I'm working on that one. The other is, if I read 12 names, and one of the sons that's previously called the son of Jacob is left out, then the other name must be what? It must not be one of the sons of Jacob.
What name took the place of them?
Manasseh. Which says that they're not talking about the 12 sons of Jacob. Which says they're not talking about 12 tribes. Yeah. Okay. That it's symbological. That they're talking about something other than.
When allergies throw a sucker punch, the power of Claritin back harder. Proven more power.
This is divinity to the second degree. This is divinity to the third degree. This is God, God, God. Whatever number is here. The 0 indicates divine power. So the 12,000 is still here. Okay? They ain't gone nowhere. Manasseh comes from this. That means mind. So we add divine mind to the 12 now in the revelation of the same 12, but they are illumined, they are divine.
Oh, okay.
You don't hear preachers mentioning this name of Jesus. Except on Christmas. They don't talk about that name. They hardly can get to the believing fact. But they got to explain this one. If his name is Jesus, well, how can they call him Emmanuel? Here's the key. Mind of God. And of course, the writing is, it means, and God is with us.
God ain't never been nowhere but with us. See, if it was ever a way, we would not be. We live, move, and have our being in God, or in the mind we call God. But when it's conscious, you then become Lord of the earth. When you're conscious of the 12, not the, of Jacob, of Israel. It's not disciples, that's your discipline. Apostle, the apostate state, then you're conscious. And the 12 stars, the 12 goes on, and on and on and on. This is the blueprint of what's happening in our world. That this is what our children must come to study when they get this big. And when they come to the door, they don't say, my name is Bobby. I'm Gemini, born, and they call me Bobby. Okay. If he's going to know who he is. Self-knowledge. Then he says Bobby. Well, if you call him Bobby, he said, well, my name really isn't Bobby, it's Robert. And Robert is a 33 vibration. And 33, he'll be able to tell you what he's about. That's self-knowledge. And children are capable of doing that. You don't have to wait till they get to be 35 and shoot somebody and get 15 to bite before you tell them that they're God. You can tell them when they're this big. But we have to explain it to them. The knowledge is not something you believe. It's something you understand. It's something you know. Because behind it comes something you have to do when you get real knowledge. And if you don't do it, you will undo it. Instead of it doing positive, it will do negative. That's what I mean by the undoing. Okay, we got enough time on the tape there, so they can sell it. Let's prepare for the rest of work in Solomon's house.